Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday, July 27th meeting of Public Works. Tonight we have 3 new petitions and 1 that is held. But before we begin, let's start with the approval of the previous minutes from the May 27th meeting. No, I'm good. Well, I'm just trying to get an approval for the previous minutes from the last meeting.
I make a motion that we accept the last minute's approval.
Second. Okay, well, it's unanimous. Secondly, let's get any updates from DPW?
Yes, ma'am. So DPW has been very busy this last coming month. There's a lot of construction going on all around the city, as I'm sure you've noticed. We have a lot of projects going on. We've been working with Wastewater's doing their sewer separation project on Water Street. They're coming, so we have to shut down Water Street. The detour is around Summer Street and then South Street. That project is a two-section project, actually. The other section of it is it's going to be up in your neighborhood, Councilor Boschman.
Yeah, I saw it today.
Right, so that's the other section of the project that they're starting up. And so those projects will be going on. Unitil is doing a lot of gas main work all around the city. They came down Ashburnham Hill Road. Now they're coming down Main Street from the West Street area, coming down that neighborhood. They should be at the Upper Common by the end of the year. Next year they'll move from the Upper Common all the way down Main Street, replacing all the gas lines in that whole neighborhood up there. And that's in anticipation of the sewer coming in and doing their separation work in around 2024. So Unitil's always ahead of the sewer, then the sewer comes in, then we want to replace the water lines and then pave and do sidewalks. Summer Street reconstruction, they just finished the sidewalks on one side, now they're going back up to Moran Square. They're doing good progress there, very good contractors, we're very happy with them. And then once that's done, once the sidewalks are done, the Summer Street will be repaved from Harvard all the way to Moran Square, that really rough area. So again, we want to make sure all the utilities are done, then we do the sidewalks, then we pave. So that project's going very well. It should be done in September. Main Street two-way conversion, that has started. PJ Albert's the contractor. We've been working mainly down on Commercial Street, Boulder, underneath the Water Street Bridge. A lot of utilities. We hit a water line today, for example. Everybody still has water, but we have to there's just a lot of old utilities from the old mills down there, and a lot of them aren't even marked. So we have, it's slow going as we kind of encounter all these utilities. But that's a good project. That should be done in June of next year. Williams, your neighborhood, Councilor Kusher, Williams, Alpine, and McIntyre, that'll be starting August 9th.
Excellent.
We've already finished about $70,000 worth of drainage improvements at the corner of Williams and Ashburnham, and then Alpine and Williams. Our tree contractor has been up there cleaning trees. Gary's guys have been up there replacing culverts and scraping everything. So that'll be a pretty quick job. They'll come in with a machine that mills everything up, the existing pavement and the base, and they put calcium chloride to strengthen it and pave over it. So that'll be a pretty quick job, especially since there's not much utilities up there. So that should probably be done around September, and then PJ will move to Summer Street and pave that road. Oak Hill Road, again, Gary's guys are out there fixing drainage ahead of the paving. Our tree contractor went through and cut a lot of trees up there. It needed it. Councilor Boschman, like you mentioned, all that drainage problems. We built that big swale. It's been working very, very well, and that should help the road out in the future. We've been coordinating with the country club. They have a big event this weekend. So anytime they have a big event, we're working around them. And again, Unitil's out there doing their gas lines, probably another 3 weeks, and then we'll move in and do the sewer work, the paving work. We actually have so much work that we're kind of shorthanded. The police is shorthanded, all these police details for all these projects. So we actually are turning down work. MassDOT wants to do the sidewalks at Boutel and Townsend and Lunenburg, and we told them, you can't right now. We just don't have enough police details, engineers. There's just, so they got pushed out until September. Gary's right now 11 out of 20. He only has 11 out of 20 positions filled right now, so he's at half manpower at this point, and they're working hard to stay in front of us by doing all the drainage work and cleaning up and cutting trees and the drainage improvements, on top of everything else they have to do, filling potholes and trying to mow. And then also the civil engineering position is still vacant. So again, we're kind of short-staffed, and we're also seeing a lot of material shortages, pipe. We're having trouble finding pipe. We're fighting with contractors, trying to find materials and staff and employees. But it's a good problem to have. There's a lot of good things happening in the city, a lot of good improvements. So that's our DPW update for this month.
Councilor Boschman, did you want to speak?
Yep. 2 things I gotta say, or 3 things, a couple of things I have to say. We just spent, if I'm not mistaken, probably Gary can vouch on that, $2.5 million on the Upper Common, and we're gonna dig it up already. I think we spent around $2 million up there.
So you're talking about the Upper Common project where they put in the new crosswalks and
Right.
repaved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was before I arrived as Commissioner of Public Works about 2 years ago, so that project was done before I arrived. And we knew Unitil was coming through and replacing the gas lines. We hate to tear up new pavement. That's something we don't want to do, and that's why Main Street's not getting paved, because we're coming through and tearing it up. Unitil's going to be here next year tearing it up, and then we're going to be behind them with sewer and water and everything else tearing it up. So again, that's one of the things, since I've gotten here, coordination has gotten a lot better. We meet with Unitil every month. We schedule all our projects, so they go in front, then sewer, then water, and then we do sidewalks and paving. So yeah, that's all good. All that new pavement's going to get torn up probably end of this year.
Now, on the Oak Hill project, we're gonna maintain that, right? I mean, like everything else, once we get it, it's all down bare and we put rocks, we put all the rocks on the side of the road. I asked if we're gonna maintain it by overgrowth. As you know, once it starts growing, you got behind City Hall, the weeds are coming out of the rocks already, and it looks like heck. And once you got water coming down, it bounces off and it'll end up back in the road. Are we gonna put some like Roundup up there to keep the weeds out? Or how's that gonna work? Are we just gonna put the stones and we all done with the project?
Well, we don't use Roundup. It's very carcinogenic. We don't want our employees or our residents to get.
Well, I don't know the other
poisoned.
stuff that you use, vinegar.
And so we don't do spraying like that anymore. We don't do herbicides. The swale itself, we'll maintain it. So it's going to be a brand new swale, 3 brand new culverts, 3 brand new catch basins, and we'll add it to the maintenance. But again, it's one of those things with limited staff. You know.
This meeting is being recorded.
Well, that's good to know.
I don't know.
What's that? Oh,
Registered as a Zoom attendee for
Okay.
one of the things.
Oh,
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, but so that swale right there, I don't know if you've been up there
I've
during a
been.
rainstorm. It's a river.
right, I saw that.
It's a creek. It's flowing full force, and it was, before it was on the road. Now it's on that swale. So I think the volume and velocity of water will take care of a lot of. I don't see it get overgrown too much.
But let me ask you a question. Why can't we work with the Oak Hill Country Club, since we are, and I repeat this statement, we are benefiting Oak Hill Country Club. They're not benefiting us on this project, and why can't they take care of the weeds in that project, on that side of the road? Because we're handling their drain off from their first 9 holes, if not most of the golf course.
Right, so we've been working very closely with the country club. Like I said, they've been great partners throughout the project. Their property looks beautiful. They're interested in making it look beautiful. We've also talked to them about a couple of the cart path crossings. If they want to, invest some money in the rapid flashing beacons to increase visibility of those golf carts, I told them, that'd be on them. The city can't, I don't have the money for that right now. But they've been great partners, and I think they take very good care of the property, and I'm sure they'll have an interest in making it look nice.
All right, okay. I was going to say something about Williams Road, but I don't want to offend the council to the right.
Councilor Squalia?
Thank you. Are all 11 of the 20 positions are filled on the streets crew, so there are 9 positions left to be filled. Are they all advertised currently in the city?
Right.
We need to advertise more.
Right, so 11 out of the 20 positions within the street department are filled, which means 9 vacancies. And then additionally, we have 1 for the head mechanic position. So those are being advertised right now. I know we are getting some applications. It's just the process takes a long time. Also, the labor market the way it is right now, we're competing with, Taco Bell's giving $1,000 sign-on bonuses. Everybody's, so what we pay. So it's a tough labor market at this point. But we are advertising, we are interviewing, we want to attract good people to the job.
Great. Okay, thank you. So on Oak Hill, with the new drainage swale, are we planning to use all salt mix for the winter so that we don't have sand runoff that eventually plugs up that swale?
Yeah, so mostly, we are moving towards salt use. We've done a lot of good work moving towards salt. So that's one of the things we're moving towards is more salt use. But at the same time, some of the hills we have to use sand, which we're using a better sand now. We're actually using a manufactured sand. So I think our winter operations, and a lot of credit to Superintendent Withington, I think our winter operations have improved a lot. I think this year and last year too. They've done a great job.
Great, thanks. And you mentioned MassDOT is potentially going to do sidewalks at Boutel and Townsend and Lunenburg Street. Have they done a study, or is there any discussion on reconfiguring that intersection? Because I know the owner of the Acid Rain skateboard company is always posting photographs of accidents at that intersection. And I was wondering if there's any plan for improving the safety of that intersection from MassDOT or either Fitchburg.
So Lunenburg Street in that area is under MassDOT jurisdiction, and what they're doing is just part of their ADA program. So basically, MassDOT owns a lot of sidewalks. If you add, they own little chunks in every city, but if you add them up, they own a lot of sidewalks. So this is just part of their ADA, where they go through and they do all the ADA ramps, and they try to hit every ADA ramp they have. So all this project at that intersection is just improving the ramps. It's not a traffic improvement. It's not a signalization improvement. Nothing like that. It's just basically ADA.
How would we go about appealing to MassDOT to look into a safer reconfiguration of that intersection prior to them doing spending the money for sidewalk restoration, ADA improvement?
Yeah. So to do for MassDOT to do a traffic project, they would have to, put it on their capital improvement plans, their state improvement plans, and that takes a long time to get, and then they have to do full engineering reviews and and then it has to go through. So it's a long process. So what they're doing here is just, they just go through and just do the ADA ramps. They don't, it's very low level engineering. It's just kind of, just fix the ramp, make it ADA compliant. That's all they're looking to do. We've been talking with MassDOT actually about Lunenburg Street, because that area has combined sewer and stormwater, and it's sort of, who's is who. So we're working with them to separate that area. So, we do have contact with them, and then the intersection down at Lunenburg with John Fitch Highway is another one. We're working with them. So they're well aware of what's going on in Fitchburg. We meet with them frequently.
Okay, if there's anything that we can do to improve the safety because there are a lot of traffic accidents and near misses at that intersection. If there's anything we can do to improve it, I would advocate for that.
Okay, I'll let them know.
Thank you, I'm all set.
Councilor Kuchar?
Thank you. First of all, thank you, Commissioner Bossanetto, for all of the great information, especially the stuff coming out of my ward. I do have a quick question in regards to the Oak Hill project. I've been in contact with a resident who lives on the corner of Pepper and Oak Hill, who has had a lot of runoff from the road due to the pitch of the road. And it's coming onto his property and eroding his property. Is that going to be addressed during the project?
No, we're not going down quite that far with the drainage improvements. The drainage improvements were more from the country club, from the clubhouse, around the curve. There's a set of two culverts. We're adding a third one, and then the swale, because it was just, all that water was on the roadway. Towards that end, the problem with Oak Hill, it's a very old road. It's one of these, I think it's a two-rod road, meaning it's 33 feet wide, and then you have the stone walls, and that's all the right-of-way there is. So by the time you put in the pavement, you barely have any room to do any improvements. And it's just the age of the road, and then the stone walls are historic, so you can't just go around knocking down. So we're very limited towards Pepper Road and Sarah Lane, that area. We're just going to be doing paving. There's really not too much improvements there.
Should I do some sort of a petition to be able to have the DPW address the situation?
So it's at the corner of Pepper?
It's on the corner of Pepper and Oak Hill. I have a resident who's very adamant about the issues on his property, and I've told him that I would talk with you in regards to maybe an apron. It looks like he already has an apron on that.
Yeah, I think
area.
I visited him actually last year. Yeah, I think I know which residence you're talking about. And there's also some broken berm around that area.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll go down there and see if so when we do. So
May
what
I
happens
interrupt
is,
for a moment? This sounds like something that should be in a petition form,
Okay.
because we're discussing something that's not on the agenda to a specific resident.
I mean, it is
Yeah,
the Oak Hill project, so that's why I brought it
but
up.
this is to a specific resident.
Okay.
So,
We'll go down and look at it.
okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Secondly, in regards to your update, of course, this isn't on the specific issues. I know I arrived late. Can I ask for an update in regards to a DPW issue that I addressed earlier?
Sure.
Okay, yes.
Go ahead.
All right, can I just have Councilor Squalia for a second time?
That's
She has a
fine.
question, and then we'll have Commissioner update.
Yep.
Thank you. I shared the information on the Summer Street project today with the sidewalks and the repaving of Summer Street, and someone asked when are we doing the sidewalks at Rheingold so that the children can work on sidewalks. I know that you said that we applied for the 2021 Shared Spaces grant
Yeah.
with the Rheingold School to put in sidewalks. I was just wondering if you had an update on that.
Yeah, so what happened is we applied for the shared spaces grant to put in the sidewalks up at Rheingold. We did the ADA ramps a couple years ago, or last year, so we wanted to finish it so the kids could walk. However, the city also put in one for Cushing Street, and they went with that one instead. So the state gave, so for Main Street again.
So maybe 2022 we apply again?
Well, it's one of these, I don't know how long that grant's going to be there. It was sort of COVID related. But again, we're always trying to find money. I think we're trying to prioritize safe routes to schools so kids can walk to school. That's one of our priorities, and also ADA compliance. So anytime we pave a road, we have to make the sidewalks ADA compliant. That's the law, because you can't just improve the road and not make it compliant. So that's why we do sidewalks and paving together. But safe routes to schools is our commitment to all the children and the families of the city.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Boschman, and then we'll have the DPW update again.
Okay.
Two things. First of all, did I just hear you correctly? Cushing Street, you're going to do sidewalks on Cushing Street, and we're closing off Cushing Street? That's the problem?
Right, so
And you're not going
Cushing,
to take care of where kids walk to school?
yeah, so Cushing Street's being closed off, and they wanted to do some kind of sidewalk seating or something. I don't know, that's community development, you have to ask them about it.
Well, I just want to remind the city, and who's ever in charge of calling these shots, that Norman Bove, when he was the city councilor in the city of Fitchburg, put a petition in on Franklin Road and they started to do sections, if I'm not mistaken, I think Gary can vouch that, and they were supposed to do one block at a time. And then all of a sudden, they got to, I believe, to Norman's house, from Clarendon Street to Norman, all Cross Street, Madison Street, and then the project stopped. I don't understand why we're taking cushion, but that's another debate. My other question to you is this. How long has your department been without help? Isn't it for a couple years? Couple years. Councilors, couple years that they haven't advertised. And if you look tonight, on the agenda tonight, it's all hiring of another department. So for a couple years, this department's been suffering and never been advertised. So you tell me who's calling the shots here and if they really care about the city. All right? That'll be it. Thank you.
Can we have the update, and then Councilor Kuchar, if you have any questions after the update,
Yeah, that's fine.
you go right ahead and ask them.
Okay, thank you.
So he would like the update that he had missed from coming in late, and then if he has any questions.
I don't need the whole update. I came in like half of it. I just
Okay.
wanted to see if there was a specific update in regards to my ward that I did.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Councilor. So for your ward, it's Williams, McIntyre.
Actually, specifically, this was an issue on Roosevelt Street in regards to drainage and the drainage ditches at the bottom of, I believe it's Central Street and Roosevelt, were supposed to be cleaned out, and I don't think it's been done yet.
We'll have to look. Was that a petition?
I don't think it was a petition. I think it was just to clean out the drains.
Yeah, like I said, our staff has been, the staff is trying to keep ahead of the
I
drainage
completely
work.
understand that you're way understaffed and it needs to be addressed immediately. Unfortunately, the job market is the way it is and not too many people actually want to work. I completely understand that. I'm actually dealing with that issue in my law office as well, so I completely understand. So, yeah, I just wanted just a general update, but thank you.
All right.
Okay, so I just want to add that I think DPW is doing a great job based on the fact that they're shorthanded. And it looked like we may be going into another tough winter with things that I'm hearing on the news. I also want to talk about this specific issue. I think if people, or even the councilors, take a picture and submit it to See-Click-Fix, sometimes things are addressed quickly. And, but I thank you for the updates. I think you're doing a good job. I mean, you're right, we are shorthanded, and there are, and this is to Councilor Boschman's point, that there are advertisements for these jobs. The problem is no one's applying for them at a quick rate. So it's not that one department is getting everything and another department isn't. It's just that these jobs are out there. They can't get the people to fill them, and that's the issue. These departments that you see on this next agenda, they are people that are qualified and applying for those positions, which is why they're on that agenda. So I just have to add that.
Well, Madam Chair, let me point out to you that they didn't advertise for over 2 years. They took over 1 year to get a working foreman. There was no advertisement involved.
But the
They're
point
dragging their
is, they
feet.
are now. So to continue on with that rhetoric is wrong. They are advertising, and they're looking for workers. The problem is they're not getting the workers. So I just, to hear that all the time sometimes just gets to my nerves. So, so if there is anything else to ask, we'll continue to the first petition. Okay. So we'll begin. 13521, Councilor Marisa Fleming, petition to install a barrier at 113 Summit Street to mitigate property damage caused by driver error at this dangerous corner. I have Ms. Tulinen here to speak to this petition. So if you would like, you can head up, or you can speak from the chair wherever you're comfortable.
I thought you were going to make a decision about whether...
Well, I thought you said you wanted to speak to it. We don't make the decision until... Okay, no, so what the petition is we present the position, you tell us what's going on there. It is, you know, it's stated in the petition, but you can further elaborate on it. So,
Because I'm compulsive, I drew a picture
okay.
of my neighborhood.
Thank you.
And, my nephew and my guy told me
Thank you.
people down there would have it already. And I said, I don't think so, but, my name is Joanne Tulinen. My family has lived at and owned that house for 69 years. So the neighborhood, I can tell you, has changed drastically. There used to be about 20 houses down Summit Street, and now there's 6. The house in discussion tonight is 113 Summit Street. It is right on the corner. We have had, over the years, many situations where fence was destroyed, yards messed up. When my parents lived there, my father repaired the fence probably 12 times. When he got so old that he couldn't do it, I was already living with them, providing care. And one day, this great big, gigantic trailer truck came along and knocked the whole fence down. Was on its way up to Whitney's, which is at the top of the hill of Kelly Avenue and Jackson Avenue. And it's a business that has gigantic pieces of machinery delivered there or picked up there. So that last time that a great big trailer truck hit the fence, my dad was still alive, but he wasn't able to fix it. And I started my journey dealing with DPW, the police department, and everybody I could to figure out what the heck are we going to do with that corner, because it is absolutely dangerous. The Whitney company asked me what I would like, and I said, I would like your guys to come down and fix the fence, because it's your trucks that seem to be at issue here. They did. They came and rebuilt the fence, and we were wonderfully thankful for that. I worked also with Mr. Laxo from your department quite a bit for about 2 years, trying to figure out a solution for this problem. And gosh, I hate to tell you, it didn't work. They put what I think is a small boulder right outside the fence. And I watched one day while the big trucks just went right over it and pushed it in the road. We've had to call DPW to get the boulder moved off the sewer or in the middle of the road. It's happened numerous times. So for 2 years, I worked with Mr. Laxo. He was quite nice. We met with the police department, traffic division. That was not such a nice meeting. The police officer in charge told me that I should sit outside and count the trucks that go by on the road. I just looked at him like, no, that's not my job. Anyway, long story short, after a couple of years, we came with no conclusion. There was a little triangle or diamond-shaped sign put up, and a boulder that didn't really do anything. And Mr. Laxo and I did talk about having steel barriers put, but that never took place. So here we are, fast forward to this year, and I moved back to Fitchburg in 2019. Since that time, there's been 3 incidents. The last one was just a couple months ago, where a dump truck went right through the yard and missed the corner of the house by about 4 inches. And my nephew and his daughter live in that house now. She's 10, And the corner is where all the meters and the gas line, all that stuff is. So I'm back in the game again of trying to figure out what the hell to do. And right across the street is a fire hydrant, a guardrail. It's just a corner that has absolutely no solutions that I can think of, except to, how about rerouting the trucks? Whitney, the guy that was running Whitney at the time, had a really hard time dealing with Google, because it was Google sending all those big trucks up that tiny road. He, in turn, dealt with all the companies that he supplies or that pick up the machines from him. And it worked. It worked since this last incident, last 3 incidents. So I don't know what the solution is. I really don't. We thought, okay, put bigger boulders there, and then the issue became, well, we can't do anything because we don't know if it's a state street or a city street. So I don't know. I'm at a loss. I'm open to suggestions. The immediate suggestion would be to take that diamond-shaped danger curve and make it flashing red like I see around the city. That might be one. I'm willing to sit down with anyone, talk to anyone, do as much as I can with DPW and the police department to figure it out. The reason why I'm so anxious now is the little girl that lives in this house, she thinks I'm her grandma, and I am to her. If something would happen to that girl, I don't know what I would do. She's my love, my heart. And I want to make sure that she's safe. She could have been outside playing. So I have no suggestions other than let's work together and figure it out.
Thank you.
Any questions?
No, what we'll do now is I will speak to what I know, and then the commissioner will come up, and then they will present, and then the councilors will ask questions.
Okay.
Thank you. So, Commissioner?
Yes, ma'am. So thank you for explaining some of the problem, and it always helps to have a little bit background on what the problem is. So from a DPW perspective, we don't put obstacles in the roadway, because, if we put a big boulder and somebody hits it, we're liable. If we put a big boulder, obviously there's trucks going around, a truck gets stuck, now you got a mess, or you rupture a gas tank. So that's why we don't put obstacles in the roadway. I don't understand why they don't come up Upham Street. So I think the problem here is actually a GPS, Google Maps issue, which we can actually contact them and ask them to put, take it off your, a no truck kind of thing. Maybe put up some signage saying, trucks shouldn't be going up there. That's not a truck. And unfortunately, you're sort of in a small enclave of residential within a heavy industrial commercial district. So I think maybe some signage saying this is not a truck through road, use Upham Street, contacting the GPS, contacting the Google, that would remove that heavy tractor trailer traffic off your road. I think that would be.
Trucks. City paving is right across the street.
Right.
But their trucks are not huge, and they're very conscious of our house right there, and they've been good neighbors. I have no problems with them at all.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, so I think the solution is not a physical barrier, but more informational, educational, not to use that road as a throughway for trucks. So we'll work with the police department. We have a very good working relationship with the police department. We'll see what we can do about putting in some restrictions.
And wait, so they gotta take a right.
We will. We will.
Once you drive the sidewalk.
Okay, so I just want to speak to this because I was there immediately after this accident occurred, and my goodness, that fence was a mess, and thank God her granddaughter was not there. I do drive that road a lot now because I just try to get a feel for what's going on at different times of the day. And it doesn't matter what time of day, unless you're going there in the middle of the night. It's a tough corner, and you know that. And I do agree with DPW not to put any other obstacles that can be hit, because it is a tight corner, especially if you have vehicles going in opposite directions. And I mean, I don't have anything near a large truck, and coming from Summit, turning right is rough. It is rough. So, but I think the GPS suggestion is good. I didn't know that until now. And I mean, and if a sign, something that really pops, I think is a good idea as well. But we got to begin with the GPS, because people that don't know the area, we've got to get them to go in a different direction. But we have to try to keep the people that they know the area, they're going to go this way as a shortcut. So we've got to try to deter both from using that corner. So, Councilor Kuchar.
Councilor Boschman and I were just taking a look at Google Maps in regards to this, and I mean, just looking at that corner, the chain link fence that you have up is already looks like a mangled, pretty mangled.
That's
to be
because it was
good.
an accident.
And that boulder that was put up, that's not going to stop any kind of truck. So, in addition to making it, you know, putting up city signs saying no semi-trucks or anything down this road, can we work with the companies on that road to say, hey, look, you know, make sure you put signs as your trucks are leaving to stay away from that corner?
That's a great idea. We can approach them.
You know, I mean, it wouldn't cost them very much to put up a sign saying right turn only, or, you know, and we, Councilor Boschman and I were also looking at some of the other companies, because you have Whitney and Sons down at the end of Kelly Road.
Right?
That we could also ask them the same, you know, instead of saying no right turn, which we would ask City Line Paving, just one company out of that I see on here. We could ask Whitney and Sons to say, you know, instead of saying no left turn, no right turn, just to keep the trucks out of the residential area.
Yeah,
I know we're in a tight situation here because we have a heavy industrial area with a few remaining residential areas, but we can't ignore the residential areas.
right. A lot of times residents come and say, you know, I don't want trucks on my road because it makes noise. And I can't restrict. But here, it's actually, the trucks don't fit. So I think that gives us an advantage to put, you know, to work with you to restrict. So we'll work on that.
Yeah, and the last incident, and I'll get to you in a moment, Councilor Squalia, was a matter of totally not even seeing the corner, just basically going right through the fence, through the other side of the fence. The police were called, and the boulder from the other side of the street was brought to deter for the moment.
I wouldn't
until this petition
even
came through.
call that a boulder.
Yeah.
That's a stone,
Yeah.
and that's about it. Yeah.
Councilor Squalia?
Thanks. I appreciate the thoughts to redirect trucks on Google and for the GPS. I don't see how you could restrict trucks going around this area. There's so many large companies here, and it's kind of like a loop going from Summit to Kelly, and I don't see really how we could restrict trucks that would really, you know, you got PJ Albert and Capital Paving all kind of right off Jackson, accessed through Kelly. So restricting trucks I find would be difficult, but back to the physical barrier, you know, you can see, like Councilor Kuchar said, you know, clear indication of hitting the fence. And we use physical barriers all the time to protect property. In the city, there's a giant boulder on South Street where it's easy to slide down into that house that likely was hit before. We use the rocks all along Coolidge Park. We had the same problem, Councilor Fleming at Townsend and John Fitch Highway, where they had a guardrail, but someone hit the guardrail, and replacing the guardrail is expensive, so we put a series of boulders to protect the house from being hit. Can we not use a series of boulders on the grassy area in front of the fence to protect the house from being hit by trucks?
No, you cannot place boulders so basically, you know, I was transportation engineer for a long time and designed a lot of roadways. Guardrail, there's a lot of engineering behind guardrails. When you're driving down the highway, you see impact attenuators, guardrails. There's a lot of science behind it. Putting boulders, you're doing the opposite. So a guardrail is basically to keep you from, you know, you have, I won't get into all of it, but basically it's, you know, you hit it and it kind of gives way a little bit and keeps you on the road. That's the whole purpose of a guardrail. Putting a boulder on the road, you know, we put guardrails to protect you from hitting boulders. You know, that's the whole purpose of a guardrail, from hitting an object. To put a boulder on the side of the road, you're introducing impacts. Somebody's going to hit that, and they're going to get hurt, because a boulder is in no way a crash attenuator. It's in no way a safety device. It's the opposite of a safety device. So I don't know who put out boulders all over the place thinking they're protecting the public, but since I've been here, we're not putting out boulders. We're taking out boulders because somebody's going to get hurt if they hit a boulder.
So what if so the city can't put boulders out to protect? What could the resident do to protect the property? Could the resident build a fence that could withstand car impact? Could the city put Jersey barriers in front of the fence to resist car impact? Is there any physical barrier that either the city or the resident themselves could do to protect their house from being hit?
So, again, Jersey barriers are not, you don't just put out a section of Jersey barrier because it has blunt ends on it. Okay, a Jersey barrier system, the way it works is you put a bunch of you link them, so it creates a barrier, and then at the end you put impact attenuators. That way you don't hit a blunt end. Putting a concrete Jersey barrier on the side of the road where somebody can hit that blunt end, it's not legitimate. It's not, you're introducing hazards to the roadway. We don't do that. If somebody, you can build a fence on your property. That's up to you. That's up to the building codes, whatever you want to do. But DPW can't build anything on private property. We can only do things within the public right-of-way, and we're not putting out boulders on the public right-of-way because we're introducing hazards. So you can build a fence on your property. That's fine. That's up to you. Within obvious, there's sightline issues. You can't block sightlines, things like that. But it's not. That's not. We don't put out boulders. No, we won't. As long as I'm Commissioner of Public Works, we're not going to be putting out boulders.
So it would essentially, for a physical barrier, it would be on the homeowner.
Basically, if they want to build something on their, but again, there's fencing regulations you got to follow. Guardrails. So guardrails serve a certain purpose. It's more complicated than just putting objects to prevent somebody from, you don't want to introduce hazards to the travel way. Guardrails are a thing where it's meant to protect you from hazards by keeping you from going down a non-recoverable slope or a fixed object or things of that nature. That's why we put up guardrail. This is not a situation where you would put up guardrail. It's more of a, an alignment problem. The road is, you have a sharp turn, it's a narrow road, and you have tractor trailers coming. Well, the tractor trailers don't fit, so we have to tell them not to use the road.
Please.
Just like when you have a low bridge, if you have a 10-foot clearance, you tell tractor trailers you can't go down there. You're not going to fit. It's that kind of situation.
Okay, thank you.
We have contracted a built well fence to rebuild it. And when I explained all of the information to the guy that owns the company, he said, why don't we build the fence diagonal right at that corner, so it's in your property is still there, but the fence isn't. So that'll take place the end of September. So we've decided to build the fence, and instead of making it a 90-degree angle, we're cutting it across.
Straight at the corner.
Yeah, so if someone does go into the yard, hopefully it won't take down the fence while they're doing it.
Well, you had mentioned, Joanne, that someone almost hit the house, went through the fence and almost hit the house.
That's exactly right. But, you can't, when we think about fences and barriers, we live there. How do you keep from making your house look like a prison?
Yeah.
Because somebody can't drive right. I guess when I was working with Mr. Laxo, he talked about those steel pipes that are...
Bollards?
Yes, that are usually, you see them in front of stores and things like that. I don't know if that's a barrier that you could live with.
So again, it's you're introducing, so if you know tractor trailers are going to go around it, they're going to hit it. And like I said, it's just going to be you're going to have tractor trailers hitting barriers. You're introducing a conflict. It doesn't take away the conflict, it just makes it a mess now because, like I said, you can rapture fuel tanks, you can disable vehicles, and then the whole road's shut down, things like that. So I think before introducing barriers, I think it's more, education and enforcement would be the first things we would try.
Okay, I'm gonna, Councilor Kuchar has some questions.
Well, first of all, you hit the nail right on the head, and I was going to suggest, going off of what Councilor Squalia said, kind of cut that angle out just a little bit to allow for a little bit more room. But as an attorney, I understand exactly where Commissioner Bostonello is coming from. The DPW cannot put those type of barriers up. That's not saying that you can't, because that's your private property.
Yeah, but I don't have the money, I live on Social Security.
I get that, and that's putting the finance on you, and I completely understand. And unfortunately, private property, you could put boulders up there to stop the tractor trailers, but unfortunately, that's financially on you. We can't do it because it causes liability for the city.
Yeah, I think looking at signage and educating the people at the top of the hill. Like I said, city line paving is excellent. They're very good to work with. Albert is not so much, PJ Albert. We had a situation a year or so ago, and I testified on that. And we still have problems because back at the houses on Summit Street, you can see the sand and the whatever you use to mix tar, the great big heaping.
But that's another, so we can't speak to that this evening, so we can discuss that at a later time. Councilor Kuchar? Councilor Kuchar, all set?
I'm all set,
Councilor
thank you so
Boschman?
much.
One question for the commissioner. Whitney Place, the Whitney factory up there that builds up the, I know they get big trailers, they come from that big machine that crush rockers and that. How come when they leave there, we don't make them coming down that place, instead of taking a right turn, we don't make them take a left turn to Uton and come on to Durnford Highway? On the Whitney Plaza up there on the hill?
Coming down by where PJ Albert is. So he's
Way up
speaking,
on the
instead
hill.
of coming, when they come out of Whitney, take the right onto Kelly, take the left onto Kelly, and go down the back way behind Market Basket, Jackson Ave.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about is.
Yeah, I know, but why don't we
use
make
them
them?
up and
Why don't we just put a sign on, especially for them, because they get the real big ones. Their equipment's really big.
yeah.
And I think that's what, I can't vouch for that, but I've seen some of their trucks went behind on the trailer, and I can understand that. If they took a left turn there, and onto Upton and then John Fitch Highway, make it a lot better, but I can understand them wanting to get into Lunenburg Street too. So, but it'll be, you just have to go around.
So,
I
so
can go.
the recommendation is to put up signs and,
Right, so the motion is to put up barriers. So I would say, you know,
Amend the
to
petition.
draw it, and we'll work with the police department to put up signs.
I was going to say, motion to hold until they can talk to the police and whatnot, so we could maybe readdress this.
okay.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. We're going to hold it until, all right, so we've got to start.
Okay. Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Oh, good.
Petition, oh,
I can go with you. Maybe
okay, petition 13721, Councilor Marisa Fleming, petition to assess the sidewalk located in front of 6 Myrtle Ave, Moran Square Diner, to ensure individuals with handicaps are able to walk, use wheelchairs, walkers and canes on a smooth surface. Currently, private property is being used as the throughway. So what is happening here is, in front of Moran Square Diner, there's a really nice sidewalk. However, the sidewalk has grooves in the concrete, and they're going in both directions, horizontal and vertical. So it's difficult for the wheelchairs and walkers for them to have a smooth surface, and it's causing them to take a left and go through private property, which I know we can't enforce that. But I think it's really easier for them to take the right and use the sidewalk rather than taking the left, then a right, and then a left. So,
Yeah, so I went out there and talked to Adam Willoughby.
yes.
Very nice person. He's redoing the Moran Square Diner. It's looking really nice. So, yeah, so he showed me around some of the concerned areas. The sidewalk is really, the condition of the sidewalk is good. The concrete's in good condition. Is it ADA compliant? No. It's some of that concrete, it's a weird concrete where they put a lot of joints all over the place. So a wheelchair casting gets stuck in there, and it's just very difficult. The condition is good. It's just, I don't know why it was built that way whenever it was built. That whole, so I talked to him, and he explained some of the concerns, like you were saying, people cut across sort of the parking lot. So, you know, I think Moran Square needs you know, we would like to look at Moran Square as a redesign, that intersection. Right now, it's sort of misaligned. We have a lot of development going on there. It's one of our intersections that we have on our radar for studying and upgrading and kind of, you know, modernizing once we get some funds to analyze it. And I think at that point, we would, you know, try to maybe rebuild the sidewalks in that area. Right now, like I said, the condition of sidewalks is good compared, we have a lot worse sidewalks. I understand that's a high-traffic area, perhaps. I don't know, Gary, could we maybe put like a skim coat or something to, you know, to kind of maybe smooth it out? Yes, sir.
Councilor Boishman?
I just want to tell you, again, remember I talked to you before?
You did.
You're opening up a restaurant there, you're going to have people coming down Lunenburg Street, and they're going to cut through there, either one to go to the restaurant. If they have another store right next door, they're going to cut through there to go to the store. Unless the only thing to prevent that guy from getting people going through his properties, if that's what he's looking at, he has to put a fence up. But to say, you're going in a restaurant, you're going to open a restaurant up, and you're going to say, I want you to go all the way around, even though you don't come, and everybody else can go that way. I can tell you, I'm lazy. I'm going to take the shortest route, and that's the shortest route. I'm not going up and around. I'm going to go right across, because he's open for business. It's a public way, because he's allowing public to come to his business. So
Okay.
that's
The
way I
issue
look at it.
here is not the fact that people are coming down Myrtle Ave and taking a left through his parking lot. The issue here is people are crossing over Myrtle on Main Street, and instead of going to the right, which would be the normal course, They're taking a left going up Myrtle and a right onto his property. And the reasoning is that the surface is too rough for the wheelchairs and people with handicaps to use
Oh,
because...
coming from Summer Street down? You coming down across Summer
No,
Street?
they're on Main Street
On Main Street?
going east. Myrtle Ave is on your left.
Right,
So
I
you
know it, yeah.
cross Myrtle Ave, Moran Square's on your left.
Right.
So the normal course would be to take a right and stay on the sidewalk, which they don't do. They take a left and go up Myrtle Ave. That's the issue. The sidewalk is in nice condition, but it's those grooves that are the issue because it's preventing people with handicap to safely use the sidewalk. So they cut through the parking lot, which makes no sense because it's not the easier way to go.
No, I'm not gonna stop it. I
Yeah,
agree with
no,
you.
no, no. So I just wanted to make that clear. It's not really about them not cutting through his parking lot. It's the reason they're cutting through his parking lot. Councilor Squalia?
Thanks. I agree with Commissioner Bosanetto. We walked that area recently, and the sidewalk's in pretty good condition, considering the rest of the city. I do understand what you mean by the weird contraction joints. They're like 24 inches square. It's odd, but I don't see that it's necessarily that big of an issue. I think it's more of an issue of convenience, as Councilor Bushman suggests. I would be concerned about doing a skim coat, that it might not last very long, that it'll break up, and then in 3 or 4 years, we'll be back here going, the DPW came and did something to the sidewalk, and now there's broken pieces of concrete everywhere. So I would suggest that we, hold this, or, give this leave to withdraw, and look at it, as Commissioner Bosanetto noted, that we will look into reconfiguring this area in the future, maybe applying for grants, so that we can improve all of the sidewalks and the intersections at the same time. I would be concerned about doing a skim coat, that it wouldn't last, and it would, in effect, be more inaccessible to those with wheelchairs or walking canes in a short period of time than just leaving it as it is.
I guess my concern would be how soon would all those sidewalks be addressed? Because, it's an issue now. I mean, even with stilettos, there's a problem walking on there. So it's not just for people, with handicaps. It's for anybody who might be wearing a wedge or a high heel, or, it could be a liability to the city.
Yeah, so...
It's not constructed like a normal sidewalk.
Right, so construction, Moran Square, by the time you get grants and you do the design and you put it out to construct, I mean, you're talking 5 years at least.
Right. So I guess we're trying to see.
But Councilor Squalia is perfectly correct. You put a skim coat on there. It doesn't quite have the traction. It's more of a smoother, and it does fall apart because the water gets underneath it. So it would fall apart and probably wouldn't provide the traction that you need for a good sidewalk. So it's...
Okay, I'll let Councilor Boschman speak, and then I will.
I got a question. You know how they put that rubber, that silicone stuff when they make the joint right here? How come we just can't fill that in with silicone?
It'll just get ripped up.
It'll come right up?
Yeah.
All right, that's all I want.
All right. So when you look at, there's an awful lot of grooves there. There's a lot of joints. So is there a possibility that maybe we can address some of the joints? So there's not so many? I mean, because they're going this way, and it's...
Yeah, I mean, you could just rip it up and re-pour it, but again, it's, we have limited funds, we have limited staff, we can barely, and there's so many bad sidewalks. Like this one is not in bad condition. We have a lot worse sidewalks in the city, and to divert resources to a sidewalk that's okay, I think there's much better places we can invest our time and money.
Okay. Anybody else? I'd like to entertain a motion to hold this and not withdraw it. Just future. Just holding it doesn't do anything other than just hold it to reevaluate.
Why can't we just put it back in when they need to?
I would move that we give leave to withdraw, and we can bring this up at a future date.
I'll second it.
Unfortunately, I just don't see what other options that we have. I understand that you'd like to hold it, but after hearing from Commissioner, I just don't see what we're going to be able to do at this point in time for the petition. I like the petition, I'd like to see it go forward, but I just don't see an option here. So I'll vote to withhold, to withdraw.
How many to withdraw? I'm against. Thank you.
Okay. Withdraw 4-0. Okay.
Petition 14621, Councilor Sam Squalia and Andrew Kujit to petition the city to replace the broken guardrail boards along the street at 97 Appleton Circle, as shown on the attached pictures. Councilor.
Yes, so, I mean, as indicated in the pictures, there are many wood, white painted boards, and almost all of them are broken, and they look unkempt. I asked the resident if she'd prefer if we could just remove the boards and leave the white painted concrete bollards, and she's indicated she'd prefer if the white boards were replaced. So that's where we are.
Commissioner?
Yeah, so Appleton Circle is a one-way clockwise, and there's guardrail's a very loose term. There's sort of this fencing on both sides. On the inside, so as you're going around clockwise, what's on the inside is not necessary at all. There's, as you're driving around in a circle, if it's icy or snowy, you're going to go to the outside. You're not going to go to the inside. So on the inside, I would recommend just removing those boards and leaving the posts, and that's fine. On the outside, we can fix up the wood, make it look nice. Again, it's a wood, so if you hit it, you're going through it. The wood's not going to hold back a vehicle. So I would recommend removing the inside ones, and I think, Gary, you feel comfortable? They can do the outside, paint it up, look nice. I know there's a couple houses for sale down there, so, help it look a little bit better.
Right.
Councilor Boishman?
Are you going to go all the way around? Because I went up there today, I came down Depot Road and took a left, and I went all the way around. You're going to do the whole innocent thing, or are you just going to do what her petition says, 97? Because they're all broken if you go right around the complete circle.
Yeah, it's sort of an odd thing. I don't know how all this came about, because you get very little traffic down there. I mean, the only people driving down there are the people that live there. So I don't know why at some point somebody put up all this sort of wooden guardrail the whole way around. I don't think it's necessary, really. I think we're just going to, like I said, remove the inside ones and then clean up the outside ones where there is a steep slope. So you do want to protect the steep slope from somebody going down there, and kind of fix those up and paint them a little bit. Not do the whole way around.
How come we don't use the wire across there? You know how they use big, 1 inch?
So the wire is a sort of a flexible system. So like I said, there's a lot to guardrails.
Yeah.
I could talk to you
Yeah, I know.
hours and hours about guardrails. The old concrete post with the wire,
Yeah.
it doesn't, because what happens is the wire's flexible, but the concrete post isn't. So if a car hits it, you go in, and then it guides you literally into the concrete post. So those are defunct.
All right.
I mean, we
No.
haven't used those for 40 years.
All right.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Okay, petition 08920, which was held for review. Councilor Bernie Schultz and resident Alec Freeman to remove the no turn-on red sign at the intersection of John T. Citrino Memorial Drive and Water Street. Any updates?
Yes, so that intersection right now, as you know, is that's where all the traffic is being detoured. So we put some do not, roadblock, no trucks, all that signage there. So right now, all the Water Street traffic, other than local, is coming over Citrino using Summer Street. So that intersection right now is not functioning like it used to. Basically, what it comes down to is you have, now I'm going to forget the name of it.
Boyle Court?
The court?
Boyle Court.
Boyle Court. So basically, yeah, Boyle Court comes down and they get the green signal and they can go left or right. When they're going left or right, the Citrino Bridge traffic, that's why there's a no turn on red, because that's a conflict. They have the green, you have the red, you need to stop. So basically, you know, you have a petition here to allow the right turn on reds, but you can't have both. So you're either taking away the no turn on red, or you're taking away the allowing people from Boyle Court to make a left. And somebody's not going to be happy, so.
Anything else, Councilor Boishman?
Oh, no, I just got, it wasn't my petition.
Okay. Councilor Schultz, did you want to speak? to the
Yeah,
petition?
I think we talked about with Sergeant Boudreau, if we were going to, just let them turn right from Boyle Court rather than go left. But Commissioner Bostonello's right, they can go left or right now. So right now, we can't do anything with the situation we got down, as Commissioner Bostonello said anyway. It's going to be in the future. But it's something we could talk more about as far as allowing that just a right turn out of Boyle Court. It's kind of dangerous to do that left turn out of Boyle Court anyway, but I guess it would be more dangerous if we allowed it and then we had the right on red there coming out of the bridge at Century Drive.
And that's another intersection that, you know, we have on our radar for, it needs a traffic signal improvement badly. It causes a lot of backups especially in the afternoons. The signal could, you know, that whole intersection could use some improvements. The signal's old, it's outdated, there's a lot of weird things going on with it. So, you know, that, again, if we ever get money for signals, we'll, you know, Moran Square's on our list. This intersections, we have a lot of intersections that need help.
Yeah, I think that, could I speak again?
Certainly.
Sorry, I think that we probably should wait for the traffic light improvement so that we can allow the left and the right and the right on red if we had the right traffic light there. So maybe we should hold this until we get the improvements to the traffic lights, if that comes about. Is that possible, Councilor Fleming?
Well, I still have Councilor Squalia that would like to speak.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with what Councilor Schultz just said. I wouldn't be in favor of just changing the traffic pattern for Boyle Court in favor of allowing a right turn on red for John Citrino Memorial Drive. So, and I would say, no, I wouldn't be in favor of that without a traffic study and a traffic light improvement. That Boyle Court signal is very old, but it is functional, correct?
It works, and you also have the old fire station there. So I think back in the day when fire trucks were coming in, you know, usually the door would lift and trigger a little switch that would turn the light. So like I said, it's changed a lot, but it's going to be years. Like it's, you know, by the time we do a traffic study and find money for the traffic signal, you're talking years.
Yeah, I think we know now why there is a no right turn on red sign at that location. So I would say that this should be given leave to withdraw.
Could I say one more thing, Councilor Fleming?
I'm sorry, what, Councilor Schultz?
Yeah, could I say one more thing?
Certainly.
I don't know if we should necessarily give it leave to withdraw. I think we really need to, maybe we can have the Sergeant Boudreau in the traffic division look, because as Commissioner Bostonello said, it really is a real tie-up from the bridge, because we don't allow that no right on red. And, you know, we don't have that many cars coming down Boyle Court to make that left turn. But so, I don't know, you know, it's something that maybe the traffic division and the police department could study. Maybe we could make that adjustment until we have the major study later on. That would be my suggestion.
Yeah, and that would be a pretty simple, you know, we just put green arrows instead of green balls, signifying you're only allowed to turn right, and then you'd remove this, you know, so it'd be signage and lenses, a couple $100 to do that change.
Is that it, Councilor Schultz?
Yeah, that would, I like that suggestion from Commissioner Bostonello. You know, a couple $100, and we can avoid that backup in the bridge. Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Kuchar? Councilor Kuchar would like to speak?
Thank you. I was actually just going to ask Commissioner Bossinetto, what's the estimated time for the signal improvement? And he indicated that it was going to be years, not to mention, I like this. I've gotten stuck on this in this area numerous times. I would like to see some improvements, but if we're going to be waiting years for it, every time we have a Public Works Committee meeting, we're just going to have to continue to hold it for years. I don't think that, we're going to be doing the city a favor by just holding this, for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I think it should be given leave to withdraw. Councilor Schultz, I completely understand where you're coming from, but, I think if we're going to be waiting on years on this, coming up into the future, I think we should probably readdress this with another petition.
Do you like that last suggestion, Councilor Kuchar, about?
I do. I will say that I do like that idea for a temporary fix. I'm not, saying that, no, that's not an option. It is something to definitely explore.
Okay, well, so that's why I would hold it until we can do that, see if we can pull that off for a couple $100.
In that situation, then, yeah, I could see holding it to see what the Fitchburg PD has to say about it.
Councilor? Okay, I have Councilor Squalia that would like to speak.
Commissioner Bossinetto, would you, in your opinion, suggest that we do we need an engineering study to determine if we should change the traffic signal currently on Boyle Court to only allow right turns and remove the right turn on red? Would you feel like that would require a traffic study, and do you feel like that would be the right course of action now, or should we wait for a future funds to improve that intersection?
So I am a traffic engineer. I'm licensed in the state of Massachusetts and New Hampshire as a licensed engineer. So I'm actually a traffic engineer. That's what I do. Basically, I can spend a little bit of money getting professional traffic counts, turning movement counts. That way I have some data. So that costs a little bit of money. I think I can find the money in the budget, and then again tweaking the facing and the timing and how it works. That's easy enough. We can do it. So I can do the traffic study, and I think that's I'll just take some if you approve this, I'll take some funds and get the traffic counts and do the changes.
So in that case, should we hold this petition awaiting the numbers and figuring out if this is okay, or should we just?
Yeah, you can hold it. Just again, we're super busy. We're down a lot of people right now. I'm doing 3 different jobs, but so it might take a couple months. And then also the traffic counts are going to. I can't do traffic counts until the detour opens up, because right now you have nobody going through on Water Street, so all the numbers are off. So we'll have to wait until at least September for Water Street to open up, then do traffic counts, and then I'll probably get you an answer like October, November.
So is this a situation where we would hold it in order to allow that traffic study, or would we lay it on the table? What is the situation what is the correct course of action for this?
That's what I would think, to hold it, yes.
Hold it, we'll just hold it for a few meetings.
Yeah.
I would move that we hold this petition.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Do we have any other business? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Withdraw? Oh, yeah, motion to.
Second?
Second.
Okay, I'll take this by unanimous consent.